Welcome back, students. Today we'll be talking about organizational citizenship behavior. This is divided into three sessions. This unit is going to be divided into three sessions. And overall, the unit objectives will be to understand the concept of organizational citizenship behavior, which is called in short OCB. Hereafter, I will be I will term it as OCB, which is the short form acronym of organizational citizenship behavior. The second objective of the unit is to learn the dimensions and implications of OCB, and then also to learn how to measure OCB. In today's session, the objectives are to understand the meaning and definitions of OCB, explore the evolution of the concept of OCB, and view the perspectives of researchers while explaining the concept of OCB. What is this OCB? Organizational citizenship behavior. In a workplace, to certify someone as good employee, certain quantifiable traits are looked for in the performance appraisals. Am I right? These quantifiable traits mostly focus on actions that are expected out of the employee as mandated by the designation of the employee. Organizational citizenship behavior is a term that encompasses anything positive and constructive that employees do of their own volition, which supports co-workers as well as benefits the company. Nobody asks them, it's not a mandate. Nobody asks them to do, but on their own they do it. In organization, most of the employees are under an impression that their primary duty is to do the work which is assigned to them. That is pretty common. They tend to stay away from behaviors which they think might put them into trouble. Let me not interfere into it. Let me not think more about it. Let me focus only on my work. So, thus, they focus on delivering the work that is acceptable and beneficial to the organization. They think that's their role. Only focus on the work which is acceptable as well as beneficial to the organization. Organizational citizenship behavior deals with the actions and behaviors which are not mandated by the organization. Because you are in a particular role, you are expected to do this, you are expected to, the framework which the organization expects. These organizational citizenship behavior does not fit into that framework. They are not critical to the job. Those behavioral patterns are not critical to the job. It's not that they are a part of your job profile, but would benefit the team enormously and encourage the employees to contribute toward organizational efficiency. When an employee delivers above and beyond what is expected out of him or her, then such a behavior is termed as organizational citizenship behavior. The willingness of participants to exert effort beyond the formal obligations which are dictated by their positions, which is this organizational citizenship behavior, this has long been recognized as an essential component of effective organizational performance. OCB, or organizational citizenship behavior, it's an evolving concept which attempts to find out how and why people contribute positively to their organizations beyond their job responsibilities. What they are supposed to do in their job is fine, but why is it that they go beyond? The study of OCB engages in analyzing the circumstances in which individuals go that extra mile in the workplace. Employees who engage in this organizational citizenship behavior necessarily not be the top performers, but they always tend to go an extra mile, which I have mentioned a little while ago, apart from satisfying the minimum requirements of his or her job. That does not mean in order to help somebody or in order to go an extra mile, they leave out their job and their job requirements. It's not like that. In addition to that, they go an extra mile. That's why the term extra mile. It is stated that by encouraging employees to engage in organizational citizenship behavior, organizations have shown to increase productivity, efficiency, and customer satisfaction and reduce costs and rates of turnover and absenteeism. according to Potsakoff and Blue. Organizational citizenship behavior exhibited by offering something like, dropping a colleague at home, providing suggestions to improve performance, or even as simple as loading paper into the communal printer when somebody wants to take a printout. All these are examples of OCP. OCP directed towards the organization as a whole includes helping to recruit appropriate people to specific tasks, who fits what, which task, being able to identify and putting a particular person in a proper slot, making suggestions to improve the workplace facilities at a managerial level or at whatever level they are working in, or doing unpaid overtime, not expecting payment for finishing a particular task, wanting to finish that task on his or her own, and then finishing it without expecting any overtime payment. These behaviors are desirable, but then it's not easy, it's difficult to cultivate them within typical organizational structures. They don't happen just like that. It's not that if they want to demonstrate, some people may demonstrate, but you cannot say everyone has to demonstrate OCB. OCB is not a mandate, please remember. So let's look into these definitions now. The term organizational citizenship behavior has been coined in late 1980s by Organ during his initial attempt to understand those behaviors which were yet to be named as a better representation of performance. Since then, it has undergone few revisions, though the basic concept remains the same. OCB refers to any spontaneous action which is executed, spontaneous action, please remember. Any spontaneous action which is executed by the employee as desired by him or her, not because somebody expects, which is not mandated by the organization or demanded by the seniors. It is not because you ought to do it, you do it. You feel like doing it, you do it. It can be a help to someone, it can be a benefit that you give to someone. The basic understanding of OCB as going the extra mile or above and beyond to help others at work is what many are familiar with. And that is how OCB is conceptualized. Whether to engage in OCB or not is a personal discretion of the employee. Nobody can dictate it to him or her. Organizations can promote OCB by motivating them and also providing them with an opportunity to exhibit OCB. The organization should create a workplace environment that not only allows for, but is also conducive and supportive of OCB. Only when there is an open atmosphere, when there is a chance to demonstrate OCB, people can demonstrate OCB. Otherwise, if they are fitted into a framework which is very tight and they cannot move this way or that way from whatever their role responsibilities are, then it is difficult for them to demonstrate anything like OCB. Is it possible to promote OCB? Yes, it could be done by including measures of OCB in performance appraisals and recognizing and rewarding employees who exhibit OCB. It may not be easy, but it is not impossible. It could be done. Add measures of OCB in performance appraisal. Look at how much more he goes an extra mile or she goes an extra mile in helping others, and recognize and reward employees who demonstrate OCB. Though OCB is perceived to be intangible and difficult to quantify, it has shown to have a considerable positive impact at the organizational level, enhancing organizational effectiveness from 18 to 38% across different dimensions of measurement, according to Potsakoff, McKenzie, Payne, and Backrack, as well as Erhard. For more definitions now. Even before the term OCB was coined, Barnard, way back in 1938, came out with a definition that would rightly define OCB today. The willingness of individuals to contribute cooperative efforts to the organization was indispensable to effective attainment of organizational goals, which means OCB is required in order to attain effective attainment, in order for an effective attainment of organizational goals. CADS, focused on the notion behind the extra role behavior of the employees. Katz says employees willingly contribute extra efforts for the attainment of organizational outcomes. Once again, he talks in terms of those extra going an extra mile. Relying on the notions of both Barnard and Katz, Relying on the notions of both Barnard and Katz, Orkin developed his OCB construct. And this is where there was a clarity as to what is OCB. OCB is an individual's discretionary behavior which is not directly or explicitly recognized by the formal reward system and in the aggregate which promotes the effective functioning of the organization. At the end of it, though it is not recognized by a formal reward system explicitly, it contributes to the promotion of effective functioning of the organization. So it's very important. Van Dine et al. In 1995, who proposed the broader construct of what is called extra role behavior ERB, they defined OCB as a behavior which benefits the organization and or is intended to benefit the organization, which is discretionary and which goes beyond the existing role expectations. So everywhere we are seeing this commonality, existing role expectations. An employee extending a helping hand, for example, to a newcomer who is struggling with learning certain things, or helping a colleague in his task or volunteering to change shifts are few typical examples of OCB. Apart from these, organizational related acts like extending the shift to complete the task or volunteering to organize events without expecting any additional remuneration also come under OCB. We talked about this a while ago as well. Now, introducing what is OCB and how it is seen. Generally, in performance appraisals, we see the quantifiable traits and we focus on actions. Whereas when it comes to OCB, it refers to the positive and constructive acts wherein you support your co-workers and in turn benefit the company. And by engaging in OCB, we said it's walking an extra mile on your own. And this contributes to the increase in productivity, efficiency, and customer satisfaction, and reduces costs and rates of turnover and absenteeism. This history shows that the concept has evolved. It was first put forth by Chester Bernard in 1938 as the willingness of individuals in organizations to cooperate. He later defined cooperation as genuine restraint of oneself, actual voluntary service for no reward, and even subjection of one's own personal interest for the betterment of the organization. He focused on the notion of an individual exhibiting an extra role behavior alongside executing the assigned tasks as required by their job. Then Katz brought a demarcation in the concept of OCB as innovative and spontaneous behaviors rather than an obligatory role performance. The basis for the differentiation is whether or not such spontaneous behaviors are found in the individual's job description. Organ's formative definition in 1988 that OCB is a voluntary individual behavior when aggregated across people and time contributes to the improved performance of the organization. OCB is a beneficial component for organizations as individuals volunteer to do tasks that are not formally structured or mandated as part of the individual's assignment or role. So this historically, the way it has evolved, this work which I have described so far has led to various studies examining a variety of predictors of OCB. And these predictors included job satisfaction, organizational commitment, perceptions of justice, state or trait personality characteristics, and leadership behaviors, and many more. In their meta-analysis, Organ, along with Ryan in 1995, found that attitudinal variables like satisfaction, fairness, and commitment exhibited stronger relationships with OCB. Why does OCB occur? Let's try to understand the dynamics here. What has been missing is a conceptually sound framework for understanding why OCB occurs. Historically, each new study suggested and to an extent found support for a new antecedent of OCB. That this must be the reason. Specifically, the researchers examined OCB in relation to organizational commitment, job satisfaction, or procedural justice to investigate the employee's contribution to organizational performance. Organ, Somek, and Dragzhave in 2004 and others emphasized the voluntary nature of OCB. Time and again, we've been coming back to this. The voluntary nature of OCB, which should be outside the individual's formal role within the organization, therefore not formally rewarded. If someone is following a prescribed role or fulfilling formal job duties, then that is not called OCB. Remember, we are talking about the extra mile, which is not a mandate. If it is a part of the formal job activities, then it is not OCB. If an individual demonstrates OCB, it could leave a positive impression on supervisors that would ultimately lead to workplace benefits, like, for example, increased pay or promotion. Morrison found that OCB was not consistently perceived as extra role, and in fact, employees who considered it in role exhibited more of it. When they perceive it as a part of the role, then they have exhibited more of it. Since this would mean that OCB could in some cases be expected by supervisors and co-workers, formal recognition and reward can also be possible. When an employee knows that his or her supervisor or manager and the colleagues expect some OCB from his or her side, then they would do it because it would be recognized by others. So why not give a formal recognition and reward is the question here. Organ consequently updated his definition to redefine OCB as contributions to the maintenance and enhancement of the social and psychological context that supports task performance. Look at the difference now. Contributions to the maintenance and enhancement of the social and psychological context that supports task performance. In this redefinition, OCB is still considered distinct from task performance since it is not explicitly linked to any formal job requirement or reward. Nevertheless, employees can be aware of the opportunities from OCB. Halves-Leban and Bellairs integrate into their definition from the point of view of the individual's motivation that people are motivated to select behaviors that give them the best opportunity to achieve their future goals with respect to work, which often manifests as OCBs. So, different researchers have viewed the concept from different ways and put together OCB, in summary, is still that extra role behavior which need not necessarily fit into the expectations of the work but may contribute in one way or the other to the enhancement of the role as well and to the recognition or reward that a person may get as well. In the next session, we will talk more about it. Thank you.